The streamers coming.
Hello, amigo. Eve Gardens one on Instagram, and this is We Nerd World. Of course, this is an afternoon episode. Figured want to talk here board. Thought I'd fire it up and see if any of y'all wanted to hang out while I messed with the plants. This is a We Nerd World, so if one of you guys want to hang out, go ahead and hit that link. Trying to get chat popped out here. What's so special to the end? Sure. Hard to see the screen out. Yeah. What's so okay?
Press another guy's
Top chat, the live chat. Neon flower, what's up? All right, rolling up. I'm playing with some plants here. These are the outdoors so far. Over my shoulder, throwing my life away. What's up? I mean, ready to roll up a little spritzer. What's up, GMO? How are y'all doing? What are you smoking on? Looking at this is an African black over my shoulder here. What's up, Jeff? 10 gals at the moment. I've got some behind me there and need to be up potted today. Real quick while we hang out. What's up, ghetto hippies? Oh, sweet. Beautiful weather, hopefully there. Pretty fucking nice out here. Let's let this eats it out the sun. Forgot to grab some papers. Oh, just gonna have to look at the plants real quick while I go grab a skin or two. Or the handle lighter. What the fuck? All right. Be right back. Take a look at these girls I just while I'm gone. It's only 106 outside. What in the fuck? What's up, Brett Anderson? Going to grab some paper. It's out to Killer Skunk, timeshare, Paul Signs, Chip Ball by Chilbert, UK. What's up? What's up, Brett Anderson? Purgatory is a good one. This is WEedNerdWorld. You want to pop in? How many of y'all? 300s. Either buy the 300s or they actually sell the 500s up the road. When I'm up that way, I grab a packet of the 500s. Oh, yeah, Mr. Smiley's Gardens. Cheers. Hmm. These are the. This is the right here for my. Oh, okay, let me get this over here. That's the fucking Vietnamese black from the what you call it, the sun grown cup. That's it. All right. Fortunate you, Michigan with no dope next Friday. So positive, yeah. I talked to OB last week. There's a good chance we may see a fucking quick episode this week with them pre Michigan visit, I guess. Straight Yorkie with Yorkie. What the hell is that? Yes, it's gonna be a big one. It's probably gonna end up in the ground. We'll pick up some of y'all. Do a little deep leaf and want to talk to you guys here, but too bad. It's okay. Cheers. Oh, yeah, it's a, is it Gilsa? Gilsey? Gilsa? Oh, fuck it. You should stop by, bruh. Buddy Kilowatt. What up? Long time. Actually, these girls are in like the cheapest soil that I can find. Some like Kellogg's outdoor potting mixes all they're in right now, and they look good. Sure look better than they did. They've been outside a minute. Now in the cold. They were out when it was fucking 30s. Told myself it's just gonna make them hardy. Don't make them tough. Next time. It did. It did. What's up, I seen it. Snow. What? What makes you pop in? We got something to talk about. You guys ain't gotta just sit here and watch me pluck leaves. You hear when I get both hands. Got some girls behind me. That's zero time is gone. Shots of beans in the house. What's up, Jeff? I missed you. Cheers to you, Justin Bean, one more time. Cool folks there. That cut was gifted me by Pizza Pirates by
Always on the move, they got nothing left to lose except their guns and their wounds. Now they're crossing border sheriff's posse on their tail. They'd rather die together than be stuck up in a cell. They drank a bottle of whiskey and they partied every night. Like it could be the down, he said to shoot on sight. They chasing. They wouldn't stop running till they found a paradise, but the sheriff finally found him with the start seeing red. So the lovers had to shoot him down and fill him full of lead. They were finally free to find a place to lay their head. And when they finally did, he looked at her and he said, I said, I think that we can stay here. I feel our time has come. And we can walk down. Shut up, your hack your sisters.
What's up, Anthony Lester? Lower class booze in my house.
So let's take a shirt off, and we should go hit the casino. We got work on. I said outside, let me go swimming in your eyes. We've been running for a while, but you late on make me smile. I could never ask for nothing better than this. Just when we kiss, I said I think that we can stay here. I feel our time's come. And we can walk down the ocean. Sit with us inside. So unpack your task since then. I'll run it from town to town. Now that we safely, we can drink the tea.
What are you guys smoking on?
Tell you what you Pops picked the place up for $1,500 back in 1964. Grandfather was a drinker back in the day.
So, Doctor, can you guys hear the music or is it choppy? Could be the Zoom filter. Skunky Glass works in the house. Cheers to you.
Since I saw to the devil like he said, sign your name here in the dotted line. Your songs, shop on a sunset, they can be the best. Said, she number million record. Oh, you better listen to me. You said, change your style. Like your style. 3 pounds. Don't give this to me, girl. That what's
Oh, what up, Danny McDaniel? Hmm. See if I can fix that for I seen auto. Is that better? Said too much background noise. Secret. Okay. You an amazing weekend as well. What's up, Paul Figs? Don't forget about Brandon Russ. I believe is hanging out later on in an update episode. See, it's good news to join, I guess, real quick before I do some transplant. Well, and it's not a problem, is it? I see. I'm not here for the music. It's more for me, I guess, since there's nobody here to talk to. Well, Smiley was trying to get in. I didn't see or hear a beat. Let me make sure I got the volume up here. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't hear a beep or nothing. Password 420, Smiley.
I love my country. I love my guns. I love my family. I love the way it is now. And anybody that tries to change it has to come through me. That should be all of our attitudes. This is America, and the country was good enough to be something.
Haven't talked to Mr. Smiley in a while. His glasses. The last four digits of the code. Ah,
From blue collar, out there where concrete means no rhythm. I don't know what happened, but it stood on heather on paper. Close my eyes, lean
what's up, I see Nick?
in bed. I think my
The second call was the
keep some love.
what's going on?
Not too much, not too much. Well, jump on and keep you company.
Smiley's just popping in as well.
Yeah.
What you doing? What are you smoking on over there?
Whilst the wife's in the kitchen. Just chopped all my shit down pretty much. Just got a few little bits left, bro. Just got some seed increasing going on. So doing some F3s and some F1s in there. Yeah, pretty much get ready for the next lot.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, the emptier the room makes me nervous. I feel like I've always got to fill. What's
Yeah.
up, Smiley?
What up, man? My computer's being stupid as shit.
What's up? What are you smoking on today?
I gotta roll something to smoke on. So
Are you still not smoking cigarettes?
yeah, no, since March 31st.
Hell yeah, congrats, man. That's huge.
Yo,
Got a small population of woodchucks back here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they'll fuck with their shit, man. I had a small population of baby rabbits.
Like a mama and 6 babies and run around and fucking found like their hole and practically like crawled in it. It's big enough for them to crawl in. I'm like, man, you get down in there, boy, they're gonna fuck you up. You're at an unfair advantage in there, dude. But now he knows where they're at. So every time he comes out, he like continuously like looks at that corner of the yard and barks and shit. So if you hear him
That's
bark,
fun.
I'm sorry.
He's got a job.
Good at it. He's good at it. Yeah, I'm excited about the more I think about the outdoor, I'm kind of excited as I like. I've started the indoor garden too. I've got a bunch of shit in there from, well, I got some of your stuff in there. I got some stuff Meds sent me. I got some stuff from Blue Blood Genetics in there. But now I forgot what kind of dedication an indoor garden can take. You know what I mean? And now it's coming up to summer and like run around fucking season. I'm already like, fuck, fuck. I need somebody to water. I need somebody to close tents. Shit. So I'm starting to appreciate the outdoors and the outdoor grower, the freedom that they have. Through the cultivation process is real. The latter months, I don't know if that's as much true because you find I've always heard of people like actually camping out in their grows and shit to protect what they got. So they may lose a little freedom towards the end, but they get the like all summer freedom, I guess.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm in the process of switching right now. I just was moving plants and fucking chopping shit down, hanging it, like the whole bit. Now I gotta trim. I still ain't got all the shit moved yet. It's like falling behind on the steps, you know.
You know. I got a couple babies I need to up hot. I took some phones from Mr. Big Jar Grows. This is a good lead in too. Happy big birthday, Big Jar Grows. Just wanted
Oh
to
no
throw that.
shit.
Also, Jinx Proof's birthday, but he didn't stop by last week and bring me clones.
That's cool. What did he bring you?
He brought me some of Nick Risden's stuff there. Some of his Squirt Cola and a few of his other strains.
Nice.
So they're doing pretty well. Actually, it's funny. I topped the shit out of all them girls last week. I mean, like that day. And then transplanted them. So I have actually a tray of those girls already rooting indoors for spreading them out as well.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you'll I got
Yeah.
all the outdoor stuff I took clones of last week, which as I was saying earlier, I think I had the Vietnamese black, the Thailand black, the pre-Kush, the pre-Bubba 98, the Golden Gold. I have a seedling from J5420 and then Nick stuff back there. And then indoors, yours and what is it? Mimosa times Crippy is indoors. That's what I got going indoors. Yours. Nice. That's trays of happiness there. I seen it.
Yeah, yeah. So sort of some of it's trimmed, some of it ain't. So like this one ain't. It's still got a load of leaves sitting up. This is like the Franco's lemon cheese. It's not frosty like my normal stuff's normally sort of like caked in trichomes, but this one's not really. But it's stank and it's stinky.
Is
This
she
is
like a velvety strain?
yeah,
And
sort of like yeah, really rich in the mouth. You know, sort of you get that full mouth flavour. When it was drying, to be honest with you, it was a little bit unbearable. It was like being in the room for too long with it. It was like, oh, that's a little bit overpowering. But now it's dried off. It ain't too bad. Yeah, that's I think this is a fucking hell. Pink candy cross super lemon haze. It's a blood grape. That's a blood grape. That's a pink candy cross super lemon haze, and that's an RS11 cross super lemon haze. So, yeah.
what's up, SoCal?
I love how you got it set out like a buffet too. It's fucking badass.
Yeah. You know, to be honest with you, there's a couple in there that like I'm not too keen on that. The blood grape, to be honest with you, that one. I'm not even sure. I call it blood grape, and I think that was what it was, but maybe I got it mixed up the labeling because I've got a load of them little ones that I show you, and they're totally different structures. They ain't got that growth structure like that one, unless that was just a one-off. But yeah, I ain't too keen on it, to be honest with you. But the little ones, I am. So maybe it was just too big, too many bud on it, and it was just didn't have enough energy to pull it all off. If you get what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, when you have like a lot of bud sites.
What up, SoCal? How you doing, bro?
Good, man. How you guys all doing?
Good.
That's Smiley. Congratulations on the giving up the cancer sticks. That's
Oh,
fucking
thanks.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
How'd you do it?
I just
Smoke more weed.
quit, and then I got like a little nicotine, like I don't know what they're called, a patch in your pouch.
Oh, okay.
They're like 4 milligrams, so kind of cheater way, but so I'm not nicotine free. Just haven't had a cigarette.
Weeding your way out. Yeah. Nice. Very nice. So I don't know if you guys remember or not, but I've been going through that labor dispute with my prior company that I worked for. And I can't really talk too much about it because there's still ongoing litigation. But we had our first little meeting the other day, the little sit down with the labor board, and dude pretty much fucking admitted everything.
It's gonna make things easier.
Yeah. I also got him on some perjury too. They, because when you file a labor claim, the company you file against has the chance to turn in a rebuttal. And in the rebuttal, they said that I quit because my wife got a great new job and I didn't have to work and all this bullshit, which, was all total bullshit. She's been with the same place since like 2009. So, I'd like to know where this new job is. But during the hearing, he actually said that I quit because they wouldn't sponsor my desert racing. So they have, this is now the third reason they've been like quit. I'm kind of, it sucks. It's a long drawn out process, but some of the numbers they were throwing at me the other day were fucking mind boggling.
So what is that, a constructive dismissal type of a deal you're going for?
No, unpaid wages. What they would do is like if you didn't get a lunch break, they wouldn't pay you for it. Whereas I don't know how it works in all the other 49 states, but California, if you don't get a lunch break, they have to pay you 1 hour of regular time. But at the same point, he was doing shit where, like, if I went to a customer's property and fixed whatever their issue was. Then 3 weeks later, that customer called back with a different issue. They docked my pay for the first time that I went out there. So, and they would do that like weeks after the fact. So like 3 pay periods later, they'd take pay away for, having to go back to a job site or whatever. No matter whether it was a brand new issue or not, if they called within like a 3 month period, and we had to go back, then it was automatically they dock your pay for it. And if they sent somebody else out that, was at a different pay rate than you, you get docked at that guy's pay rate. So, but the labor board asked the guy, he says, do you really do that? And he goes, well, yeah. Right then and there, just straight up admitted to it. So the labor guy says, the rep for the labor board says, well, what classification are you running your business under? And there's only 17 different classifications for contractor's licenses, and he didn't know. He was completely baffled by the question. He had no idea, couldn't answer it. So it looks like I was expecting back about $7,000 in lost wages, and from what the numbers the labor board came up with the other day, I'm looking at buying a brand new fucking truck.
I went for a whole dismissal tribunal sort of affair once. I had a really good job at the time. It's for Norwich Union. It's quite a big company, worldwide company. And they sacked me. They said it was gross misconduct. But, it's one of those things they can be like, yeah, we're going to frog march you off with security. You're not going to have any chance to sort of like talk, get evidence or anything like that, and they suspend you sort of straight away and do all investigations. It's all fucking. But yeah, I lost a 20 grand, 20 grand job and won in the court, but I ended up getting 2,500 compensation. You know what I mean? I lost a 20 grand job. It's fucking ridiculous. Oh, because I swore.
2,500 doesn't make up for 20 grand. I'll tell you that.
That's pretty much at that point in time, I'm like, yeah, fuck this, working for other people, shit, being told, especially when you're like in a, you've got like a manager or a supervisor, a manager, a building manager, and a fucking area manager, and you're all these people, fucking hierarchy structures, and yeah, fucking just let me come to work, do my work. You know what I mean? Stop fucking hassling me.
I'll tell you what, though, it's amazing what some of these contractors get away with. Hey, you're muted, Eagle.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. I was actually telling a guy the other day, that you got to kind of take care of yourself a little bit. It's all about making your employee and being the best employee you can, but you got to watch out for yourself too.
Yep.
At the end of the day, man, you're just a number in a lot of corporations here.
Well, I've been telling people for a long time now that if you even think there's some shady shit going on, like make sure that you have duplicate copies of everything. Keep all your pay stubs. If you're doing like a handwritten time card, make yourself a copy to keep at home. If you got to punch a clock, fucking take a photo of that clock every time you punch in, punch out, whatever you got to do. But I've learned through this whole process that you need to cover your own ass, even if you don't think you do, because you never know what's going to happen down the line.
There's old timesheet. I remember when I was working as a chauffeur, and I'd go away and work the whole weekend, and they'd just pay me for like an 8-hour day. But I'm like, well, I've just been away for 3 fucking days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, it's 24 hours a day. It's 24 hours a day. When I'm away, you might be having to put me up in hotels and stuff, but still, I'm at work. I'm not at home. So I wasn't
Right.
paying for the whole entire fucking time. I just took what a day's wage when I was actually
Yep.
working.
Yeah, my wife had to go to a conference thing in Nashville for her work. I believe that was August of last year. And the way they worked it out is, they pay travel expenses. They give you a per diem for your hotel, your food, your all that. But you get paid the entire time you're there. She works 10-hour days, but they give you, they pay you for a 10-hour day. So, well, the conference thing that they were at only lasts 8 hours. So, I mean, that I thought was kind of fair, but if you're somewhere where you're like, you're away from home and you should be on the clock getting paid, you need to get paid.
Yeah.
You need to get paid all your expenses, everything,
But it's in my experience, this shit happens all across workplaces. You're always going to get screwed. And as soon as you raise your head and you say, why am I being screwed? That's when you lose your job.
Right. That's why you got to be well versed in the labor laws.
Yeah. I've had plenty of jobs that have just lasted half an hour or 2 hours. I'm like, yeah,
Right.
fuck that. First break, I'm gone.
Yeah, this last job, it was actually one of my first experiences, like getting fired or whatever. But they actually gave me 2 weeks pay as like a severance kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of cool, like they expect you to give 2 weeks if you quit, so they give 2 weeks if they fire you suddenly or whatever.
Nice. That works out though.
Mhm.
Over here, it's all about these 0-hour contracts stuff now. So they don't actually employ people now. Like when I was growing up and starting up my life and family home and that, you just get a living wage was what they call it. A minimum amount of hours per week was the average job. You go look for a job and they give you 40-hour weeks. That's how many hours you could expect minimum to be working. And you were sort of pretty much guaranteed that. But now they get all these kids and that they're like, yeah, we'll call you up today. Do you want a couple of hours work? You know what I mean? And they turn up and they're like, oh, we don't actually need you today. But they don't have no rights because they're in these 0-hour contract shit.
Yeah. Yeah, over here, if you show up to work and they say, hey, it's a slow day, whatever, go home, they have to pay you for at least 4 hours.
Cool.
Yeah. If you show up at 8 o'clock and they send you home at 8:15, well, you're still getting paid till noon.
Yeah.
I pissed my boss off the other week because I'm salary right now, so like he has no problem having me stay late for meetings or whatever. And he sent some email out and we were gonna have a meeting after hours, and I just replied back, I'm like, we'll make it happen, but it is kind of frustrating that these things happen after an 11-hour day, like already fucking here, long day. Now you want to have a meeting afterward? Like it's kind of bullshit. Like I don't know that. Yeah, he wasn't happy about it, but the meeting got canceled. So I was like,
Oh, nice. Nice.
but fuck, man, I'm around for 11 hours. You can't have a goddamn meeting that fucking span of time. We can't figure out a way to have a fucking meeting. Like really? Like
Right.
During work hours? Can we talk about work in work hours?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can understand if you're in like a 24/7 business, where you got multiple different shifts coming in and leaving at multiple different times. It's kind of hard to, have like a staff meeting or something when everybody's going to be there.
right.
But you gotta, if that's the case, like, so my wife's job, for instance, they're 24/7. They do not close. It does not matter. She works in emergency services. So, they do not close. If you need an ambulance at 3 a.m. on a fucking Thursday, they're there, whatever. So 3 a.m. on Christmas Eve, they're going to be there. But, the way they'll do it is they'll break it up so that, if they have a staff meeting, they'll break it up into two so that the people on like day shift can either stay an hour late so that the people on swing shift can come in an hour early or whatever, and the graveyard shift or however it works, they break it up so that, you know, the guy that got off work at 3 o'clock in the morning doesn't have to be back at, you know, 6:37 for a fucking meeting. You know, and the guy that's got to be in at noon doesn't have to come in, you know, at 7 in the morning for a 2-hour meeting and then, you know, go waste a few hours before he comes back. So,
Right.
you know, in a situation like that, you know, where you have multiple shifts, I can understand doing it that way. But, you know, if you're there for freaking 8-10 hours a day, you know, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, well, don't have your meeting at 7 o'clock on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And
So
if you
do
do,
any
you better pay
outdoor
my ass for it.
SoCal? Did you get your spot going?
So that's a touchy subject this year. I've learned that my yard and my location is not conducive to growing.
How come?
So February, it was 75 degrees, beautiful. I'm thinking, great, it's perfect time. I'm going to start seeds early and grow some mendo trees. Got all my seeds planted in March. They all fucking froze to death. So started everything over. Everything was going good. And all of a sudden they froze to death again. And now it's like it's just all of a sudden got too hot for them. So they're going to burn to dead. So I think what I need to do is I need to go out here. I need to go get a tractor and dig probably 4 or 5 feet down and just do basically, you know, soil like I would in a raised bed down in the ground.
Oh, and have it like sort of a little greenhouse roof over top or something.
Well, so the greenhouse roof over the top, I thought about that, but we're already hitting, you know, 110, 112 degrees out here. So
Yeah, you're trying to cool it with it.
I'm trying to cool it. Yeah, where the greenhouse would be like, you know, I'd be hitting in the 150s in the middle of summer. So I got a bunch of shade cloth.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of shade cloth. As you can probably see, there's, you know, one right above me now over the patio. And I've noticed that just that one little shade cloth has cooled my patio down probably 15, 18 degrees over the rest of the yard. But I think everything looks like it's not getting water. So I think what's happening is that even though I dug a little bit of a deep, you know, couple 3-foot hole and filled it in with decent soil, I think what's happening is that the ground around those holes is just so absolutely dry and full of sand that even when I water, you know, twice a day, the surrounding dirt is just sucking that moisture right away from everything.
You gotta have them like on a constant drip or some shit. Huh?
Put plastic liner in there. Put plastic liner in the bottom there, SoCal. When before you fill it, put a plastic liner in.
Yeah, then that kind of I don't know. I thought about it, but it kind of out here, it's kind of hard to do just because of the fact that the ground out here is either really, really solid and I can't get a shovel through it, or it's just sand.
Yeah. Jackhammer.
Yeah. So I got to figure out something. I don't know if I'm just going to do raised beds, or I like the idea of being able to dig down and do basically like an inverted raised bed where, you know, I fill a 4 or 5 foot hole, basically dig a grave and fill that grave with super soil. But I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I'm going to try a couple more out here in planters, you know, just like terracotta planters or something to see what happens. But so far it's been, I haven't been able to get shit to grow out here.
Sounds like you need a heavy soil, like a thick black or dirt. You know what I mean? No
Yeah.
perlite.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll get some gypsum in there. Help break that up, I reckon.
I need to add some clays and, you know, just stuff that'll actually retain moisture, perlite and all that. Anything that'll help drainage would just be really bad out here.
you could go fugal style and just load the put a load of logs down in the bottom of it as well. If you are going to dig it out,
Yeah, I was kind of
I would put a liner in, to be honest with you. You know, just a little pond liner or something like that. Throw some logs
yeah.
on the top.
I'm worried about my worry is that the heat and that liner, holding heat.
Nah, if you're burying it, ain't gonna be a problem, is it?
Yeah, I'm worried about it sucking up heat from the surrounding area though as well, because you could dig a hole out here a foot and a half deep, and it's the ground temperature down a foot deep is still pretty hot.
It'll only be the same as what everything else around it. You ain't gonna really alter the temperature that much just by putting a bit of plastic in the ground. It's not gonna change the temperature. The ground's gonna
Yeah,
be whatever the ground is. The plastic will be whatever the ground, whatever the temperature of the ground
yeah,
is.
yeah. I'm really thinking that the surface temperature and just the extreme amount of drainage this soil has. I wouldn't even call it soil. This sandy dirt. I think that's my big issue right now.
Organic matter. Yeah. So
Yeah.
by the time if it's too sandy, you need organic matter.
Yep. And I can go get compost. I can get a truckload of compost for $10. Um, but it's it's a 4-hour trip there and back to get it. So, and I'll need probably 10, 15 yards minimum just to even get started.
That's like a
Hey,
year
Mark.
one thing. That's an investment in time. Next year you'll have that already pre-done, right, brother? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's a
Yeah.
bag this year, but next year, man, that shit's done. What's the
Yeah.
next,
Yep.
Do,
improvement coming up? You know what I
Yeah,
do
that's
it
mean?
kind of where
correctly
I'm
the
at.
first time, yeah. Do it properly the first time, and you ain't got to go back and do it again next year or the year after. You
Right.
just got to maintain it.
Well, I've been in talks with there's a compost company out here that specializes in all the farmland, and their pricing's not bad per yard. The problem is their delivery fees are over the top, and they don't want to, come down and load me up, a truckload at a time. They deal in, 15, 20, 30 yards that they're delivering to these, massive farms. So for me to come down there and get, a truckload, that's not worth their time, basically. Well, they'll deliver, their minimum delivery is 15 yards, but to deliver to my area, they want a $700 delivery fee.
Yeah, I think it's a small investment. If it's something that you're gonna do, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know how that this is the way I always outweigh my options when it comes to that shit. And it's the way I still outweigh my options when it comes to growing cannabis. I smoke a fucking lot of weed. So if I try to look at it what I would spend, you know what I mean? If I
yeah,
had to buy retail, and then that's my budget. If I can
yeah,
kick ass and keep that budget, and that's where I like when LEDs came into play, that was a fun change because the budget, no matter what, and that budget was a lot. Let's say, oh, so gal, because back like when I started doing that, growing, which was 2000, at that point I was spending $800 in fucking a month. So I
yeah,
figured, as long as I could stay in that $800 and produce whatever, if it fucking the electricity was seven. You know what I mean? I
right,
could justify it. You know what I mean? So you kind of got to look at it that way. What's in the long run? What are you going to put out, and is it worth the
yeah,
gain? All that, I guess. So,
yep,
to me, I just hear all I hear is step one, and that's one thing
yeah,
you won't have to fucking do next year. Uh,
right. I'm at the point right now where I'm back to the drawing board with my options. So I don't know if I'm going to go the route with digging down and getting rid of some of the dirt that's here and replacing it with soil or if I'm better off just building a shitload of raised beds at this point.
Well, if it's that hot, your raised beds are just going to dry out really quick. So you might
Yeah.
want to consider putting them on what you call it, a automatic watering system.
Right.
Not a good thing though.
A
Well,
bleach
yeah,
cycle
I
or
would.
something like that.
No matter what, I'm definitely going to automate the water system because, you know, I can't be here all day, every day to, you know, every couple hours, you know, go water everything. But I'm figuring, I got timers and all that shit for the water system. And if I do the soil the right way, then I won't need to add anything to my water. I can just
You
water
could
it with, you know, garden
I've
hose.
seen wicking beds. They're like earth boxes, but just
Yeah.
in a bed.
Yes. That's kind of what I'm thinking about doing is something similar to that, like a in-ground earth box, an actual, you know, earth box made out of earth.
Well, the real way those, I guess to my understanding, one of the ways those conserve water is that shower cap thing that would go over the top. So you'd have to have some way to hold moisture in, is what you're trying to
Yeah.
do. You know?
Yeah.
I would think a lot of mulch would be your friend, and like,
Yep.
uh,
Yeah, I'm gonna I have shit, I think I have like 15 shade sails now. So similar to these that you see over my head here. Um, you know, I got 15 or so of those. So that should cover the whole area that I want to cover, but you know, and that'll help keep the direct sun from baking everything to death.
So
So
if
now it's
you
just a matter of what am I going to do? Am I going to build raised beds or am I going to actually go, you know, go to the rental place, get a backhoe and dig a few graves and fill those graves with, you know, decent soil.
is there a
I'll dig a
possibility of
liner.
using those tarps
is
and
there a
like
bedrock there? Like, how deep to your bedrock? Like,
I haven't dug that down deep enough to the bedrock. I know that everywhere I've put a shovel out here in the dirt, I'm finding two things. Um, either concrete, like somebody took a slab and broke it up and just kind of buried it in the backyard. And then other spots I'm finding that it's nothing but sand. It's like digging in a goddamn sand dune. The more you dig, the more the hole collapses in on itself.
so is there a possibility of or can you use the tarps in like a twofold? So during the day you're keeping the sun off the plants and keeping them a little bit cooler, but yet drop them down over your pit to kind of retain a little bit of heat, you know what I mean? Covering the hole with the blanket basically. Just it'd be a pain having to raise and lower them, but still.
Yeah. Well, now the heat, I'm not worried about the heat. I mean, hell, last night our low temperature here was 85 degrees. So retaining heat is not an issue.
Oh, you're not
Yeah,
getting like
maybe
super cold at night. No, not
no,
that close.
no, we're getting to the point where you know, high to mid 80s are going to be average at, you know, 5, 6 in the morning at the coldest point of the night. So
Yikes.
yeah. Now, come early season, you know, February, March, I'll have to, you know, if I want to start real early, I'll have to figure out a way to keep everything warm for that couple of months, but that shouldn't be very bad. Yeah, that's what I could put a greenhouse, you know, cover or something over the top and, you know, let that heat from the day just sink into there and stay.
which the plants, I mean, shouldn't they be able to take it with like, as long as they got water, they can move and keep themselves cool and like,
Yeah. Yeah. If once I can get them to actually establish a root system and start to go, um, I'm not too worried about the heat. Um, it's more of my drainage. Most people have a problem where they have too much clay in their soil or whatever, and their soil just retains too much water and they get root rot. I'm having that opposite problem where I can't keep the root system moist.
Maybe it's because it's you need some surfactant in your water as well, just to help wet it. Because I find when your soil's too dry, it goes like that. What they call it, hydrophobic. So it just runs straight through. You know, find a
Yeah.
crack, a crevice.
Yeah.
Maybe if you add some sort of some surfactant in there, that might help it maintain a little bit in there. You know, you got loads of options, but I personally,
Yeah.
hearing what you're saying, I'd go with my first original option: dig the hole, put a pond liner in it, and you're pretty much fucking good.
Yeah.
That's gonna help you maintain that moisture where you want it.
Right. Right. And I've already, either way, if I go with the hole or the raised beds, I've already got the irrigation problem worked out. That's not a big deal. I've got irrigation running. I got 3 different hose bibs out the back near where I'm going to do this. So hooking a timer up and running a drip system off, that's not a problem whatsoever. You know, I can turn those on to, if I know it needs water every 3 hours, you know, I can water it for 20, 30 minutes every 3 hours with that timer. That won't be the issue. The issue will be retaining that water.
Do you get access like what kind of organic matter can you get? I mean, that's what you're really gonna want to add is like some
Yeah. So the problem with the organic matter out here is I can't take anything from the surrounding area and use it. You know, it's all cactus and most of the bushes
Right.
out here are kind of toxic.
It's
And
not like a tree service is gonna be able to deliver to you.
yeah, yeah. I can't get a tree service. I can't get any of that shit out here. Hell, I can't get an Amazon delivery out here. So,
Fuck that.
so
Amazon delivers anywhere. Fuck off.
yeah, no, they use UPS to come out here, and UPS only comes out once a week. So, because you got to remember, I'm an hour and a half from actual downtown San Diego.
Yeah.
So, you know, nobody comes this far east. Hell, it took me I had to do some stuff for the homeowners insurance on the plumbing. I had to put one of those stupid whole house leak detections with automated shut off and all that bullshit. And even though I'm a retired plumber, they wouldn't let me do it. You know, they're like, no, it's got to be somebody that's currently licensed. It took me 8.5 months to actually find a plumber that would come out here. And I only found them out of, word of mouth from a friend of a friend of a friend kind of thing. So getting anybody to deliver, trees or, whatever it's damn near impossible out here.
Well,
I
from
have to
the sounds
drive.
of the way you're describing the soil, it sounds like you moved to like a former nuclear test area or some shit.
That's pretty much what it seems like out here.
Like they were testing the first atomic bombs out in that area. Like,
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
why nobody wants to go there.
Yeah, it's the soil out here is, it's desert, sandy dirt,
Right.
so now if I were to go 30 minutes west of me and be like in the mountains, then the soil up there is pristine. Yeah,
So like they do
you're
in
in,
they're talking, I was watching a video, they were doing the desert areas where they're trying to like regreen it or whatever. But they were
yeah,
digging these like little half moon shapes in the soil or in the ground. So, and then they planted certain shit, but when it rained, it would like collect there. So they were like making the best use of the rain. But it was like the Sahara Desert, so I would imagine
yeah,
it's fucking gonna work for you in your yard or whatever.
yeah.
But
Well, getting the water to the area is not a problem. It's the retaining the water in that soil because it dries out so out. It's mostly sand and rock, so
right.
it dries out so quick. I mean, like I said though, I can go get organic matter to fill in. It's just a matter of, it's a 4-hour trip there and back,
Well,
and I
getting
need so
roots to go
much.
in the soil is going to be your organic matter too. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
start getting plants established and growing year after year around a little half moon shaped hole that collects some
right.
heat, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yep, yep. I went and bought a bunch of compost tumblers and stuff, so got those going. So that should kind of be it won't be a good start, but it'll be a good supplement. like as needed later on down the line.
I'll get a couple
But,
of bales of straw, and because that all sort of like help to break that up really well. If you, I find the sort of straw, hay, whatever you want, just
Yeah.
mix. That'll really sort of like fluff out that airy, dusty shit, and
Yeah.
give it put some oxygen into it as well.
Well, that was kind of my plan too, as well as what I really want to do. I mean, first thing I got to do is actually decide whether I'm going to go rent a backhoe and dig it, or if I'm just going to go buy a bunch of lumber and build raised beds. But I do
what
want
would happen
to,
if you plowed the dirt there? Like, what would it look like, you think?
it's trash.
Like you
It's
till it
not.
would just be sand.
Yeah, the dirt here is dirt. It's non-usable.
Then you gotta
It,
bring shit in, or you gotta try to work with it to make it usable by adding the components
Yeah.
that you know.
well, and that's kind of my
But
hope
raised
is
bed might be easier.
I'm hoping to bring enough in that I can get going, and then basically just build into like a living soil.
That's what I'm thinking. It's gonna probably be, I don't know, it's gonna be expensive either way, but like trying to till in a section that you're gonna add a bunch
Yeah.
of manure to or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might have to get a trailer, rent a trailer or something, and work something out on Facebook and go drive and get a bunch of horse manure from the farm or something like that, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Try
what
to
I'm going
get
to start,
shit
I'm going
going.
to, I'm going to start with, like I said, I can get a truckload of, they call it 1 yard. It's, whatever will fit in the back of your truck, for $12. So I'm going to, that I'll use that as my base, basically compost, and then just build in off of that.
Yeah, you start tilling all that in, and like eventually you're gonna have something, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just honestly, it comes down to me getting off my lazy ass and actually making the drive to go get the material to do it. But
That's
with
it. Go
gas
crash the
being
nation.
fucking gas is $6 a gallon right now, and I get like 10 miles a gallon on my truck, so it's a tank of gas there and back.
So
And
dig a
then
harpoon-shaped fucking hole.
yeah, well,
These fucking Africans ain't got shit either. They're digging
yeah, that's true.
harpoon-shaped holes, planting some
That's
shit in.
true. Honestly, the biggest issue has been me getting off my lazy ass to do it.
Ah, the truth.
Yeah, I will.
I'm pretty lazy too. My shit's looking wild. But dude, believe it or not, my broccoli and I've had trouble with broccoli. Broccoli's fucking kicking ass this year.
Nice.
But I did cut down the tree that was like partially shading it, so they're getting like full on sun all throughout the day now. So they're just kicking ass.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
My
my
veggies
garden
look
looks like
like
shit, but
shit.
I look at my broccoli and I'm like, yes.
Nice.
My priorities are fucked right up, man. I step right over my veggies to get to my water and my weed.
Oh,
It's
you
weird.
know,
Yeah, I've got some veggies out, just a few tomatoes and cucumbers and whatever, but they don't look as great as what's going on back here. I forget about them.
Yeah.
I transplanted all my shit the other day, and they fucking I put the cannabis in, I put the tomatoes in, all that. I watered them, but we've had like a couple, full sun hot days or whatever, and like I came home today and they were all wilted and shit. I was like, fuck, man. I had to water them again, but it about bounced back. But
That's why I like the like a dripper system or something like that for like outdoor veggie gardens.
yeah, I ain't all
Especially on the
fancy like
timer.
that. I gotta actually drag a fucking, hose around and water and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, the old place I had all my raised beds on the little auto timer freaking drip system things. Well, I had the little sprayer emitters, but it would it would water, 4:30 in the morning every other day for 30, 40 minutes, and that would give it enough that everything just loved it.
Yeah,
As soon as
I was thinking that I still got all the fucking Blue Mott carrots and shit like that from the barn, which was like 100, 200 of them or whatever. I got a shit ton of them.
oh,
Like
nice.
2 buckets full anyway. But then I was thinking I could set them up in the garden, but you know, then I started thinking about it and I kind of was sick of fucking with those things. Like,
Yeah.
you're
I just
constantly
used the
fucking with them things. Like,
I was basically just using that, like the 1/4 inch tubing with the little sprayers that, connect into the tubing and put them where you need it, and it worked out well.
yeah, a timer I think is a little better, but
Yeah, the timer is a world of difference because if you forget, it doesn't.
right. And the blue mots were like they'd dry out and just run constantly, or they'd fucking just stop dripping and the whole thing would be dry as a motherfucker. And
Yeah.
then you'd have to check. Then you'd have to check. I'd always have to. I learned this. You have to take the whole blue mot out, and then I had spare ones in a bucket of water ready to go that I could just put right in there and replace and then reset, and then because then the other one would always have a fucking bubble in it. It would be like fucked up, and if you didn't do that, you'd always be chasing it, trying to get it right. It's like
Yep.
there was a lot of maintenance to the Blue Mont things. Like,
Yeah, that's why I like the.
I've been looking at. I've been eyeing up. Is have you seen them reptile misters sprayers systems?
Yep.
You get sort of like six high pressure misting nozzles. And I was thinking that's the sort of thing I would like. I'm going to think about incorporating just to keep that cover crop. Give it 3 or 4 mistings, 6 mistings across the day, just to keep that like a dew constantly on the top of on that cover crop, just on the top of the bed.
yeah.
Just that light mist. Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you what though, that little 1/4 inch dripper irrigation setup that I had, those work really well. I had the little emitters that spray like a 360. And they, you set one every 3-4 feet, and they overlap just enough that everything got watered.
Yeah.
And it's kind of set it and forget it with the timer.
And it's funny how it always comes back to like the stupidest, most simple fucking thing about any of it is water, right? Like watering, like, but yeah, that'll make or break you every fucking time. And it's like supposed to be the most basic, easy thing. Everybody knows how to water a plant, right? No, not every.
Not
It's
really.
this is so complicated when you really start digging into it. It's like, fuck, man.
When the pots get bigger, isn't it? I mean, we can all go wet to dry, or in a pot that you can just pick up and and lift around. But when you got such a vast expanse of soil, say going up from 30 gallons upwards, you're gonna have dry pockets. Even if you pick it up to judge it, you can't guarantee that's wet all the way through. Or
Right.
I be use a rain gauge outdoors, so I have a normal like broadcast sprinkler, I guess, whatever, one that kind of goes back and forth like that.
Yeah.
But I just put a rain gauge under it, and then I get a timer, and now I've kind of got an idea how 20 minutes is about a half an inch of rain or whatever, and then I just try to make sure they get between 1 and 2 inches of water every.
This was the rule of thumb, wasn't it? Back in the day, it's like, when does your plant need watering? Can you stick your thumb in? How far can you stick your finger in it before you detect the water? If it's about an inch down, maybe more. That's how
It's
you
a good
used to
idea
test.
still, exactly, yeah, because I've kind of, I guess the whole concept of like outdoors where there's a mass of the earth, right? Like that's there. But like the amount of rain that's just fallen in the last couple of days, like that saturates down and down and down. So like when you're talking, when SoCal's talking like, okay, I water and it just pulls it away from it. Like it's kind of the opposite effect if you have that water level, where the rain's kind of soaked down there. You start watering on top, even though it looks dry, it's like really wet, like you really got a lot of moisture there, more than you would think, because just by glance at the top surface, it could look dry, but there's a lot of water still in that soil.
Yeah, that top inch looks dry, and the bottom foot and a half is freaking mud.
Well, like, yeah, like in my area, I mean, the ground can hold some water. Like it's, you know what I mean? It's like there's some moisture still there after a day or two. You can take a shovelful and still feel, a lot of water still in it. Not like dripping wet, but it's, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
it holds some moisture.
you can
You
come
set
past the
something
dirt
on
and
the
it won't fall
ground, it's like a
apart.
plastic toad on the ground, and it's all wet underneath it when you pick it up and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I like I said, I just got to get off my lazy ass and get it going. Enough of this trying to work with what I have here.
You don't have to do shit. You're retired, so you can do whatever the fuck
Well,
you want. Like, you ain't got to shave no more. You're looking like a fucking mountain man or whatever.
fuck
Tw-
yeah.
20-second warning, my phone's going to drop off. So I'm going to just jump off now, boys, and say cheers, everyone. My phone's now dying, so been a pleasure.
Yeah, always good to see you. I've seen.
Cheers, I
Cheers, I
seen.
think.
Have a good one.
Cheers, buddies.
I
There we
love
go.
that buffet too, man. It looks shit. It looks sweet.
Yeah, I made
Be cool to
myself a
bounce
bet.
over the pond and smoke.
I made myself a bet at the end of last deer season I wouldn't shave until I got another deer. So I'm stuck with this until at least, September.
Dang.
It's gonna be a long, hot summer.
Right, you look like ZZ Top, dude.
Right? I am
Yeah.
good with that.
Then you can get a part-time job as like Santa Claus in December and shit.
Right? Go work at the mall for. Yeah, no, I'm not one for having a bunch of little kids come sit on my lap. It's just not my gig.
You could pull it off though. The ho ho ho. What if they paid you $200 an hour or some shit? You could jump
Hey,
in,
then we're talking about something, but
right? I'll dress up in the Santa suit. Shit.
right, right. Santa suit, Easter bunny, shit, $200 an hour, I'm good.
Easy, buddy.
I'll be a fucking elf. I don't care.
Could be Papa Smurf, maybe. I don't know.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Paint your ass blue. You fucking Papa Smurf.
Right. Hey, for $200 an hour, I'll paint myself blue. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. It's funny. There's some truth to that. Like, get paid enough, man. You can do any job, really.
Right. Right. I mean, now there is some shit you couldn't pay me enough to do anymore, but
Yeah. Yeah, there is some shit I couldn't do.
yeah. Like a friend of mine called me the other day and he's like, "Hey, I need a water heater installed." I'm like, "Cool, call fucking Home Depot and see if they can recommend somebody."
Right?
It's like, "Yeah, but that's what you do." I'm like, "Yeah, no, not anymore. Not anymore."
I know I spent a few years doing that. After I quit wrenching on cars, I was like, no, no, no.
Yep.
Now I'm back
Yeah.
at it. Whatever.
I'm actually I got a good friend of mine. Known the guy for 40 years now. He just moved out to Arizona, but he's a professional bass fisherman.
All
And he
right.
keeps telling me, he's like, "Dude, all these fish I see you catch lately," he's like, "I don't know why you don't enter these bass tournaments." He's like, "Some of these pay fucking 30, 40 grand."
Yeah, I do.
So I'm kind of thinking, I started asking him because he does the Bassmasters stuff off of a kayak.
Really?
And he's won $100,000 tournaments in the last couple of years.
Damn.
So I started asking him, like, "Okay, well, how do these things
Catching a
really
fucking
run?"
fish?
Catching fish, yeah,
100 grand?
yeah,
Holy shit.
yeah, yeah. He's doing pretty well for himself fishing.
Wow.
So He's got sponsors and all that shit too. So
Oh, I'm sure.
like,
Like I figured
like
that's how all the guys made it around, but I didn't know the tournaments.
yeah,
That was cool.
yeah. So like for example, Hobie. Hobie gives him a new kayak every fucking year. So whatever the new big badass kayak coming out is, he gets one every year right before the new models are released.
Yeah.
But
So my old father-in-law used to he's a tournament bass fisherman now. He's getting pretty old now, but he was like in his heyday was he got offered going around in the Bassmaster tournaments and being sponsored and all that shit. He turned it down though because he had 4 kids at home. Like he was like, I can't be running around the country. I got 4 kids at home.
right, it's a lot of time away from home for
Yeah.
possibly no money.
Yep.
But I was talking
He's
to
a
my buddy.
damn
He
good
was like,
fisherman though, dude. It fucking dude will blow your mind catching fish right next to you, or you ain't even getting a bite. You know what I mean? Not even feeling
yeah,
a
oh
bite,
yeah,
and he's just fucking bam, bam, just slaying them, and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, yeah. There's actually on my YouTube channel, there's a video of me. We were out. It was my dad and I were out on the lake, and we weren't catching shit. So I decided, for some stupid reason, there were some saltwater baits in my bag. And I fucking threw out a big old, like, 10-inch long fucking squid and caught a monster fucking bass.
yeah,
I was like, well, what the fuck? Why didn't I start throwing this hours ago?
yeah,
But I've been sending a bunch of photos and stuff to my buddy, when I'm out on the lake. And he's like, dude, these fish you're catching. He's like, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but you need to enter these tournaments, man. He's like, you're sending me pictures of 5, 6, 7 pound fish, and you're catching 5 or 8 of those a day, and some of these guys are turning in like a 15-pound limit to win these tournaments.
depends where you're fishing.
Yeah,
You go all around the country fishing different
yeah,
water, so you gotta take that into account too. I mean, it's a little different when it's your local water. Maybe
right.
you go in blind to some of these reservoirs where it's like
You don't know what the hell's
you
going
could
on.
boat
Yeah,
around for days trying to find a spot. You know what I mean? Like, let alone
yeah,
try to launch
yeah,
your fish and get back. It's a lot. There's a lot to that.
right. Well, we're going up. Funny thing is, so in April, because our anniversary is the 420 weekend, so we decided to go up to Lake Havasu in Arizona for 420 this year. And on the way out there, I had brought shit. I brought more fishing gear than I did like clothing. And on the way out, I'm talking to the wife about, yeah, we're gonna catch this and that, and they got these fish and those fish, and she's like, yeah, that's just not my thing. Like, I just, I'm really not excited about fishing. And then I get her out there fishing, and she whipped my ass. And now she's like, okay, now the competition is, whoever catches the most fish from April to April gets to pick where we go for vacation in October.
I think that's a real scientific thing that women are better at catching fish than men because there's some kind of a pheromone in the oil on our skin. And there's a different one that the girls have in their oil on their skin. So like when they're doing the hook and tying it, all that, like I don't know. But I believe it's a fact that girls are naturally a better fisherman than guys.
I think it comes down to patience.
Yeah.
Because I'll throw something out and I'll be like, okay, I threw this lure 5 times, I didn't get bit, I'm switching. And whereas she's like, no, you only threw it 5 times.
Yeah.
And she'll throw the same fucking thing I was just throwing, and now all of a sudden she's ripping 5, 6, 7 pound bass.
Just saying, man. That's my experience. I took my mom out fishing, dude, and like fucking she nailed like 23 some fish. It had like 7 in a row. I was pulling them off the hook and handing her my pole, and she'd throw that out and get another. Oh, I got another one and shit. Like, just
Yeah,
what the fuck,
yeah,
Mom? What are you doing?
yeah, yeah. Shit, even at the lake, I took her out on the boat. I got the fish finder. I got all that shit. I fish this lake like 3 days a week. take her out there for the first time, and she fucking whips my ass. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, that's
what the
you
hell's
want
going
it
on
to
here?
be, man. Like you want somebody to go out fishing and have fun, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
sucks going out and not catching anything. It's a lot of fun when you go out and catch a lot of shit. Like
right,
It's
right.
just as fun not to catch shit, though. I think. Well, it's funner to catch shit, obviously, but
yeah,
I,
it is. It's nice to
Yeah,
get away, have a quiet time in the boat, whatever. But
yeah.
like catching
Just being
fish
on the
is
lake.
where
Yeah,
it's at, man. Like you get on a big school of fish where you're just fucking pulling them out of a barrel. Like just every time you drop it, boom, pulling one, pulling one.
yeah,
A lot of fun. Like,
it's been a
yep.
long time for me. Well, it's super long time since I used to take the girls all the time when they were young. And yeah, I haven't been fishing probably about 10 years, easy, maybe even
Okay.
longer. Yeah, yeah, way overdue. Way
yeah,
Yeah,
me too,
it,
man. I got poles in the shed though. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to rebuild these like reels or something. I don't know if they'll work or not. I know I have to reline them for sure, but it's probably good. Been about same about 10 years.
well, it's kind of funny. We moved April of last year, and when we moved, I only found like two of my freshwater rods and like one or two little boxes of like some rattle traps and a couple other things. And now I've got 4 bags of freshwater gear. I'm up to like 22 rods and reels.
It's funny.
And the wife's like, "How many do you need?" Well, this one's for that bait. This one's for that bait. This one's for that kind of a bait.
I know.
Just to get your boat's only so big. You can only put so many on the boat.
And then you buy so many different lures, you got to have a pole to, just switch them out quick. You can't be tying on the boat while you're trying to fish. And
Right.
just
If I
switch
want
a
to try
pole,
10 different
switch a
things, I need
rod.
10
There you
different
go. You're
rods.
ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been getting to the point lately where I'm throwing some shit that's like ridiculous though. Like I'll tie 2 lures on.
Plus, certain rods are designed to be with certain lures. Like there's a certain type of
Yep.
rod you want for a top water versus one that you're bouncing off the bottom or something.
Yep. Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
have the
She
sensitivity for when you're feeling the bottom and the top water when you want to make sure you get a good hook set.
right. Right. She looked at she went on the Bass Pro website the other day for something, and she went to order something. So she goes into my account to order it and decides to go through my order history. And she's like, "What the fuck do you need 100 of these for?" Well, I use 2 at a time, and they work great. So I ordered 100.
Right? I got this deal. Just tell her you got the deal. Use the girl math back at her. Like, well, it was 30%
Right.
off if I used the 100. I could have bought them by the 10 bag, but then I would have been paying a lot more. So just
Right.
doing that, it was like, hey, you got to jump to this one. So I did, and that was the bargain deal. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go to them. Don't worry, baby.
Yeah. Well, I've been throwing little swim baits, the little flukes. I've been tying 2 of them on and throwing like a double, I guess they call it a donkey rig. And I'm
Oh
a
no
fucking
shit.
slaying it with that thing.
So
Fucking
like one at
slaying it.
the end and the other one tied up like a Carolina type rig or something shit.
Yeah, exactly. You do like a Carolina rig, but before you tie your swivel, you just slide another swivel up that line and let it free float on your main line. So you have your 2 flukes end up like nose to tail when you actually throw them. And they do this just badass little thing in the water where it looks like 2 little bait fish playing around and chilling and swimming through. So it just stirs up the bass, but it takes 2 baits every time. So, I got to order at least 100 at once.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Can't be doing that shit in weedy bottom or nothing, right? Like,
You actually can if you Texas rig them,
I was gonna
and
say it
then
seems like you'd have like a big risk of like snagging if you did, but
no, I just kind of Texas rig it and bury the tip of that hook a little bit back into that bait so that
doesn't
it's
snag.
it's kind of weedless. Yeah.
It's been a minute, man. I should get out again. It is fun to go catching fish. It's fun.
Yeah.
It is.
I've been going down to the desert lately into the canals and catching catfish and carp and shit just to go down there and catch something.
Yeah, one of the
Hell, I
last
got
times fishing was in Alaska, dude. Fucking the Kenai River or whatever.
oh, that's on my bucket list is go up there and fish.
Yeah, it's called battle fishing because it's like shoulder to shoulder, fucking trying to find a spot, trying to not snag up
Yep.
with this guy. It's a whole
That's how
different
the
world, man. There's like a whole dock that runs the length of the shore and shit. And there's
oh
certain
nice.
places to enter because like so many people were going fishing, it was causing the shoreline to erode and was like making problems.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so they built these whole like dock systems. It's crazy as fuck, dude. Like a mile long dock where in every whatever 50 yards there's another set of steps down into the water and then you can go either way from there. Like
Oh nice.
yeah. But
Nice.
yeah, you
Yeah,
don't actually they don't let you walk along the shoreline because of that.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
We got the tuna starting to show up out here right now. So buddy of mine called me up and he's like, hey, there's this one boat that we actually really like the captain and the crew. They do a really good job. So we'll try to get on that boat, and he calls me up and he's like, hey, they got a limited load party going out. Let's go. And I looked at it and it's like, yeah, limited load, 36 people on a fucking 80-foot boat. It just
Seems a
doesn't
little,
sound very fun to me anymore.
yeah.
And it's going to be, 30 people from, places that have never even seen an ocean. So they have no clue what they're doing. And
Well, boys,
Right.
I need to pull the plug, but I need to get to the stall before the next episode really. You
Oh,
gotta
yeah,
do
bro.
it
I got
at
dinner on the way.
9, so gotta
Good hanging out with you, bro. Good
yeah,
to see you,
good to see
SoCal.
everybody.
I hope you make it
Yeah.
out this year, man. We gotta fucking get you out to Michigan.
I'm trying to win that damn fishing contest between the wife and I so I can get out there.
All right.
So
Let's make it happen.
hell yeah. All right, guys.
Good
Well,
to see you.
it was great
Good
seeing
to
you
see you.
guys, and we'll see you on the.
Oh, there we go. With that being said, hopefully we'll see you guys at 9 with Mr. Brandon and Russ. Until then, you guys have a great day.